Alright, today we are on lesson 9.6, hard way factoring notes. So today it says hard way factoring, but it's just a little bit different. It's really, girls, it's really just one extra step we're doing, and it's not too difficult. If we pay attention, you guys will catch this very quick, I promise. I know the first one will probably be confused looks, but we'll do a number of them together. So our goal today is I can apply the different methods of factoring to factor polynomials. Up to today, all of our patterns that we have been solved for, where we had x squared plus bx plus c, our a term right here has just been x squared. Well, today we're going to see what happens when we have like 2x squared or 6x squared and how we factor those. So, on this first one, I like this. They kind of go through it, but I'm going to show you something that's happening. We know that if we would get this term, x squared plus 2x minus 6 minus 12, we would solve that by like terms first. 2x minus 6x would give us negative 4x. So I could say x squared minus 4x minus 12. Okay, we're going to solve, we're going to do this just like normal real quick. We're going to do this just a normal one, and we'll compare how it's different. To do this normally, like we've been doing every day, we would see that we have just a is just the x squared. There's only one. So we look at our c term and it's negative, which that always tells me, well, then I'm going to have a positive and a negative. So I'm going to have x plus something, and I'm going to have x minus something. We look at our c term, and we have to find the factors of 12. 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. And because this is negative, remember, since c term's negative, that means here I want to find the absolute value between the two. And the absolute value has to equal our b term of negative 4, or just 4 for right now. So when I look, I say, oh, okay, it's this one. Between 2 and 6, our absolute value is 4. Katie, this is the one I'm coming back to you now, because we did this last week. So, remember, one's positive, one's negative. Because this is negative 4, which one's which?
I can't remember. It's the beginning. Get to on the next one. I'll pay attention to this one.
Who can tell me which one and why? Okay.
It's positive 2 and negative 6.
Okay, it is positive 2, negative 6. How do you know it's negative 6?
Because the negative has to be a bigger number because it ends with
Good. Since b was negative, between the 2 and 6, the bigger one had to be the negative. The bigger term always matches what the value is over here. So that's our answer. Okay? What we are going to look at today is when we have our a term that's more than 1, we're going to do a method called hard way factoring. And all they did on this was we did x squared plus 2x minus 6x minus 12. Okay? I'm going to draw a line between all this. Now, you can see we're not going to simplify it. We want 4 terms. We want this to have 4. And the reason is, I'm going to just take the first 2 and I'm going to group them together. And I'm going to take these 2 and group them together. So now I have 2 groups. That's all I did was just put parentheses around the first 2. x squared plus 2x, negative 6x minus 12. Hey. Prove. Yep. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this first one, x squared plus 2x, and what is a common factor? What can I take out of both of them? What do they have in common? X. So I'm going to take an x away, which means I'd have x plus 2 left over. Okay? How about for negative 6x and negative 12? What's common?
6.
but we want to pull the negative out. So if this first one's a negative, we want to pull that negative out to make this a positive. So we will pull out a negative 6, and we'd have x plus 2.
Okay. Yeah, it is.
Now, it's okay. I know we're going to have confused looks at this at first. So all we did, if we backtrack real quick, we had our original equation, x squared plus 2x minus 6x minus 12. All we're going to do today is group. We're going to put them in factoring groups. I'm going to say, hold on, I'm going to have x squared plus 2x, and we said what's common. So I pulled out the x, because if I distribute this x, it'd be x times x is x squared, x times 2 is 2x. We'd have the original again. I pulled out a negative 6, so I had x plus 2. Now, here's how you know you did this right today. Once you've done this, these two should be exactly the same. If they're not the same, we made a mistake somewhere. Because they are the same, that's part of my answer. X plus 2. My second answer for this is right here. I take this first one, x, and I take the second one we pulled out, negative 6. This is our answer. And if we look up here, here was our answer when we did it the way we normally do. We will get the same thing. Okay, don't worry about it. Let's do the next one, because the next one, you're going to see that our A term is not, and this is why we're learning this. In example 2, our A term is no longer 1. It's 6x squared. Don't forget the square. So here's what I will do. Make sure you're following along. I'm going to write this over to the side. Minus 15x plus 2x minus 5. Okay, they have this set up for me. I can just go ahead and I'm going to group them. So I'm going to take my first two, 6x squared minus 15x, put that together, and 2x minus 5. Now here's something important. Remember how I could switch these around, the negative 15x and the positive 2? If you had those switched around in your thing, you'll still get the same answer. It will still come out. So don't worry about that yet. Okay, now, after we've grouped them, everyone okay how we group them? Okay, after we group them, I'm only going to focus on 6x squared minus 15x, and I'm going to say, what is common? What's the common factor?
Negative 3.
Okay, 3 goes into both 6 and 15, and an x. Because I can take an x from x squared and an x from 15. So I'm going to say 3x is pulled out. So we're doing the opposite. We're factoring out. If I did 6x squared divided by 3x, I'd only have 2x. Because 6 divided by 3 is 2. X squared divided by x is just x. Negative 15 divided by 3 minus 5. And the x divided by x is, it's gone. Okay? How about for 2x minus 5? There's nothing, right? You look at your coefficients, 2 and 5, they don't have anything in common. There's an x and there's no x. But we have to pull something out. Good, whoever said that. We can always take a 1 out, and we have to. Every time we're going to take something out. So I'm going to take out a 1. And I'd still have 2x minus 5. But we're taking that 1 out for a purpose. Now, do you notice we had 2x minus 5? We have 2x minus 5. They're the same, so we did this correct. One of my answers is 2 x minus 5. What do you think the other answer will be then?
3x plus 1.
Good. 3x. And we have a positive 1 we pulled out.
So we take
We got 2x. Guys, I have a lot of talking. This is somewhat confusing, so make sure we're following along. The way we got 2x minus 5 is because I have 2x minus 5, 2x minus 5. That was common. So that's always going to be one of your answers. This is exactly how we will factor when we have a number that is bigger than 1 for our a factor in this polynomial. All we're going to do is the same thing every time. Now, you're going to see there's a change. These ones have been set up for us. There's 4 terms. So I'm going to show you something. It says, you have factored trinomials in the form of x squared plus bx plus c. We did those regular ones. I was just saying like x squared plus 2x plus 8. They're saying that. We've done that. Today, we're going to have to learn how to do it when a is more than 1. So, this is the extra step. When factoring a trinomial in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c, first consider the signs of b and c, just like we did at the beginning. We're going to do this the exact same thing. This approach works when a is positive. So if you turn into your foldable, this is in our hard way of factoring. If you have your foldable, I would put this in there. This is your hard way of factoring. It says the steps, and these are steps I will show you, and they're really easy. The only one that's really different is the first one. We are going to multiply the a and the c. That is going to be the change. After you do that, you'll find the factors of that product, which adds and subtracts to get b. We'll rewrite with 2 terms, and then we'll factor to 2 spaces and factor by grouping. Sounds confusing, and it's really not once you catch up. Okay? So, let's do this together. Here's your example. Make sure you're following along. First thing I'm going to do is I am going to consider my c term. It's positive, which means I'm going to have either a positive positive or a negative negative in my factoring. Because a positive plus a positive equals a positive or a negative times negative. If we look at b term, b is positive, so that means we're going to be using the positive. Okay, here was step 1. So we're going to put number 1. And this is exactly how I'm going to show my work. I'm going to say number 1, the first thing I'm going to do is we are going to multiply the a term times the c term. So first thing is I'm going to do 3 times 4, which gives me 12. Okay, after I found 12, I'm going to list the factors of 12. And because we're adding, I want to add these terms so they get to my 7. So I have the factors 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Which factors, when you add together, would give me 7?
3 and 4.
Okay, so we know that is the term I'm going to use. How we use this now. This is the part that's just a touch different. This is step 3. Rewrite ax squared with c with 2 terms. That means this. I'm going to say my 3x squared, I'm going to write that down. 3x squared. The 7x became 2 different things. and it became these two. So it's going to become plus 3x plus 4x. Okay. And then our 4, our c, just comes down. It does not matter the order. If I would have said 3x plus 4x, I will still get the same answer. Okay? This is the part that we have to make sure we're understanding and how we did it. So I'm going to talk about it real quick again. We looked at our c term, and since it was positive, we knew that we were either going to have a positive positive or negative negative. Nothing different. We did this before. Because b was positive, we used the positives. We then did 3 times 4. You'll do this every time today. Your a term times your c term. It gave us 12, and we're finding the factor of 12. Before, we used to find the factor of just c, but since a is not just 1, we are finding it of 12. We looked at the factors of 12 and what would add together to give me my b term, 3 and 4. So we rewrite this. This is 3x, that is 4x. So we rewrote our equation. Now, we are going to group them. So, we put parentheses around the first 2 terms. And we're going to put parentheses around the second 2 terms. Now we have them grouped and we're going to factor something out of them. What does 3x squared plus 3x have in common? 3x. All right, so I'm going to pull out 3x. And that would leave me with 3 divided by 3 is 1. X squared divided by x is just x. 3x divided by 3x is 1. Okay? So 3x squared plus 3x became 3x times x plus 1. What am I going to pull out of 4x plus 4? 4. 4x divided by 4 is x. 4 divided by 4 is 1. What do we notice now?
X plus 1 is the same.
We have the same right here. Every single time you will. If you don't get those two to be the same, you've made a mistake. Because these two match, that is one of my answers. So one of my answers is x plus 1. The other answer is, what did we pull out? We pulled out 3x. And we pulled out a 4. Was it a plus 4 or minus 4? How do you know it's a plus 4? Because it was positive.
No, but in the last answer, is it times or plus?
It would be plus. Because we pulled out a positive 4. This is our answer. And not to totally, set you guys up, but in a couple days where we're going to take this, is we'll just set these equal to 0 and we'll solve them. It's really just one more step again. And that's how we find our answers. But right now we're just solving. Our answer is, if we factored out 3x squared plus 7x plus 4, factoring it, your answer is x plus 1 times 3x plus 4. That is our simplified answer. Okay? Let's try this one. We're only doing a couple together. So, what is my first thing I want to do? Okay, first thing, well, actually before I do that, pay attention to your C term. C term is a positive, so I'm either going to use positives or 2 negatives. B is positive, okay, so they're going to both be positive. Now, Maddie said our first step, we'll take our A term, which is 6, and we're going to multiply it times our C term. So if you're paying close attention, you will not make this mistake today. That's what you will do first on all of these. 6 times 12 is 72. Because we're using positives, we're going to add our two factors. When I add the two factors, what do they have to equal? 17. Now, to save time, I could list out every single factor of 72. Or, does anyone know what it is? What? Good. We could have 8 times 9. 8 times 9 is 72. That solves for that. And 8 plus 9 is 17. Just to save time, we're just giving you that answer. Remember, you could list all the factors and check them. So, Katie, you said to come back to.
Yes.
Are these going to be positives or negatives?
Positives.
Good. Got to get to a negative one for you. Now, our next step is simple. Look at our original equation. 6a squared. I'm going to bring that down. 6a squared. 17a becomes 2 parts. What are those 2 parts? Zoe? Awesome. Plus 8a plus 9a. And then the 12 comes down. So here's the big thing. When we are solving, this is a trinomial right now. 6a squared plus 17a plus 12. When our a is worth more than 1, we can't have it as a trinomial. We have to set it up with 4 terms. And that's all we did. We just factored out, found that. Now comes the grouping and factoring. You just do the first 2 terms and the second 2 terms. Once again, it did not matter if I did 8a first or 9a first. They would have simplified out the same. So, what do I have in common between 6a squared plus 8a? So for my coefficients, 6 and 8, there is 2. And a squared and a, so I can take out an a. So 6a divided by 2a is 3a plus 4. Hey, quick little guess here. What do you think when I factor out what am I going to get?
3a plus 4.
So if you know that, and you're kind of stuck in what is common, try and get to that and then just check yourself. So 9a plus 12. Obviously, the only thing that is common is 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3, and there's still the a. 12 divided by 3 is 4. If we look, we got 3a plus 4 on both of them. So that is one of your answers. 3a plus 4. And now just shouting out, someone raise their hand. What is my second part of my answer? Emily?
2a plus 3.
Good. Second part is 2a plus 3. Doesn't matter which order I do this in. Could I have said 2a plus 3 and 3a plus 4? Absolutely. It does not matter which order you put them.
It doesn't matter if it was a negative. Maybe one of them was.
If this was 2a minus 3,
Yeah.
no, you could still put that whole group. As long as the minus stayed with the right one. Which I think is this one. This might be our last, no, we have 2 left. Okay. I'm going to do this one with you and then make you do the last one all by yourself. And then I have to talk to you about tomorrow. So we're all on the right track. First thing, since this is a negative, pay attention to this part because we haven't done one of these for a while. Since this is a negative, I know my 2 terms have to be positive negative. So step 1 is a term times my b term. 20 times my negative 8. And I'm doing this on purpose to show you how I like to keep track of this stuff. This is how I stay organized so I don't make stupid mistakes. 20 times negative 8 is Now, when I say 160, it is negative. I'm going to put my negative up here because, unlike before when I find the factors, this one, since it's negative, I want to find that absolute value. Because one of these has to be a negative, that means we're finding the value between the two factors. And we could go ahead and list all the factors of 160 until we find the absolute value to equal what number? What's it have to equal? Good. Has to equal 27. We could list them all, like 1 to 160 is 159. No. Or 5 times 32. I did this before. The first time I did this, I listed all the factors. I did all the work, took the time. I listed all the factors, and then just went through and did this.
That's super enjoyable.
Yeah. Well, I like this stuff. This stuff is like a puzzle to me, so this is fun.
Wow.
I know. I was explaining to my wife last night. She's like, I don't care. I was like, oh, but if you did it this way. She's like, yep. All right. So, we use 5 and 32. Katie, we're coming back to you once again. Because one of these terms has to be negative. Because C term is negative. So we had a positive and negative. Which one? Is the 5 a negative or is the 32 negative?
Well, these are positive, so the little one's going to be, 5 is going to be a negative.
Perfect. B is positive, so 32. So when we write this, I'm going to do this way. 20k squared, or ks. That comes down. We break our 27k into two terms, and I'm going to make it plus 32k minus, what's the other term? 5k, and then minus 8. Okay. When we group these, there's going to be something special I want to make sure we do right. What is common between 20k squared and 32k squared?
4k.
Awesome. 4 goes into both 20 and 32, and we can take a k out. So that'll give me 5k plus 8. Which means the other one, when we simplify, should come out to. Okay, is there anything common between negative 5k and negative 8? Have to always pull something out, and we want this first time in standard form, we always want it to be a positive. So we will pull out that negative 1. 5k plus 8. Oh my gosh, it's hot in my room.
Have you been in Taxi's room lately?
I'm sitting up here and that heat is blowing on me. Okay, so what is one of my answer terms? Raise your hand. Let's have someone caught. Who haven't I heard? The Tatum, I haven't heard from you.
5k plus 8.
Okay, 5k plus 8 is definitely one of our answers. And the second answer. Huh? Oh, they said 12k. It's like, whoa, we messed up somewhere. 4k minus 1. Alright. So, not too difficult, right? It was confusing at first. How do you guys feel right now on this? You feel like you could do it?
I feel great.
Alright, we have 7 minutes.
Not 40 questions.
No.
Come on. No.
But before we move on, I got to talk to you guys about something before the bell rings, and we have 7 minutes. Before we go to the last one, I don't want to cut this short. So, listen up. 2 things. 1, there's a strong possibility we will not have school tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes.
I count on it.
Only if the storm comes through like it's supposed to. So, if that happens, tonight, you still have your homework. I'll give you the half worksheet. It is 20 questions. All you're doing is this same factoring. this whole time. I would use a separate piece of paper to show all your work. On this paper is where I want you to put your answers. So just like on number 1, I only want to see this part. 5k plus 8, 4k minus 1 in parentheses. I would show all your other work. God, that heat's going to turn me nuts. I want you to show all your work, though, on another piece of paper. That is due tomorrow. If we don't have school tomorrow, it is due first thing Thursday, and we'll look at it.
Thursday.
If we don't have school tomorrow. Also, if we do not have school tomorrow, your homework on the snow day, I will give you the worksheet, is this factoring practice. So, what we will do for your snow day assignment, make sure you're listening. I'll give you this worksheet tonight, just in case we don't have snow, or just in case we don't have school, so you have the worksheet. I will send this worksheet home with you. You should do it all at home. I'll do a video, or Miss Major said she might be making it, answering all the problems. I'll also post the answer key for this online. I'll put it under my content library. Then you'll have some additional practice that you can do. But your assignment, make sure we understand this, for tonight, make sure everyone's listening to this and not talking. Your homework tonight is this worksheet, 1 through 20. Show your work on another piece of paper. Put your answers here. If we don't have snow, if we don't have school, if we have no school tomorrow, we will grade this first thing on Thursday morning. And tomorrow, on the snow day, you are to complete this worksheet. Our quiz is on Thursday. No matter what. The quiz will be very similar to this. If you can do this review sheet, the quiz will be a piece of cake.
When is the quiz?
Thursday. Party like a rock star.
They're actually, since they're